Hello everyone, I'm Mike D'Angelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your retro review of StarTropics by Nintendo. Imitation is often cited as the sincerest form of flattery, and in that case, 1990's StarTropics is quite the kiss-ass. That's not to say that the game is bad in this case, but you can tell right from the get-go that it mooches off of some of the other games of the prior years, not to mention pop culture. Again, not a bad thing, as they ended up making a very fun, if quirky, title out of all the Frankenstein parts. When Mike, I'm seriously not related to Indiana, Jones, attempts to visit his uncle, Dr. Jones, he finds that the man has gone missing. Local villagers give him vague instructions on how to track down the missing doctor, as well as the tools to defeat whatever opposition he comes across, including the fabled Island Star. The plot is incredibly zany, broken up into chapters, and featuring a strange cast that includes talking parrots and endangered dolphins. By the end of the tale, your journey is really out there. If Nintendo could ever be accused of hijacking one of its most successful formulas for another franchise, StarTropics could definitely be in the running for emulating the dungeons from the first Zelda game. Theoretically, it could be argued that this game took the logical next step, making the rooms more than just simple rectangles with various obstacles within. This game expands the system even further. Mike is given the ability to jump, which was far and beyond what Link was capable of. And though the world is not so open-ended, this game's hero had much more to work with than the squat savior of Hyrule. Let's talk about the weapons briefly. That whole Island Star thing? Just a yo-yo. Sound like another Mike from NES history? Maybe the idea was pilfered from the Goonies, or maybe not. You're also privy to using baseball bats, bolas, and even shurikens. All of these collectibles are helpful when dealing with the bosses of each dungeon, which include giant ghosts and octopi. Considering how much later this game came out than the main game it emulates, it was a little bit bland, graphically speaking. The individual development studio that worked on StarTropics was used to using simplistic work and still creating a great game though. They're the same team that created Punch-Out! They have some basic cutscenes thrown in here and there throughout the game, but nothing really takes your breath away, even in comparison to some of the earlier games in the NES library. Similarly, there isn't too much to get excited about when it comes to the sound. The music wasn't as catchy as its spiritual predecessors, but some fans can likely still hum the more popular themes from memory. What might strike you as incredibly odd is that StarTropics was never intended to be released in Japan, and thus far hasn't even arrived there on the Virtual Console. It was developed by Japanese designers who lived in the US. The game also managed to spawn a sequel, called Zoda's Revenge. This game too hasn't seen the light of day in Japan, not officially anyway. Also worthy of note is the way that the game was copy protected. In order to continue past a certain event in the game, Mike needs to find the code on a letter. Surprisingly, this letter was packaged with the game, and required it to be dipped in water for the code to appear. An interesting idea, no doubt, but it caused all kinds of headaches for second-hand buyers of the title. For its time, so far into the NES lifecycle, StarTropics wasn't exactly a breath of fresh air. Still, as a classic, it definitely holds up, and can be both fun and challenging. While it's doubtful that you'll ever see this game with a New Age sequel, many fans will always keep this close to their hearts. If you want to pick it up, you can also find it available for download on both the North American and European Virtual Console.